Hello everyone, has a nice day. Welcome back to our lecture on the agricultural communication and extension, uh, Ag Extension 1. No? Today we're going to be discussing about the adoption process, no? How the technology is being adopted by the farmers and what are the factors that would affect the eventual adoption of the technology of the practices or innovations that we are trying to uh, disseminate or we're trying to communicate, trying to give to the farmer based on their needs. No, okay. Let us jump directly to our slides and discussion. Okay. All right. So let me have a display capture. Okay. So the adoption process. This is our lecture now. Okay. For slide, that let me have my ball pen. Okay, I'm using my ball pen now. So the adoption process, no. So all of us, no, we have been adapting different technologies like for instance no I guess all of us already have cell phones no nung una mayroon tayong mga old model ng cellphone and nakita natin na mayroong mga bagong model ng cellphone and we feel the need and that the new cellphone could help our learnings could help our everyday life and also the new models of cellphone pwede siya makatipid ta no nya daghan tag mabuhat sa bag-o nga mga cellphone kaya nag-adapt ta og bag-o nga mga cellphone but during the adoption process so there are some steps no there are some tawag nga visual process ano no mental processes in our mind na nagpili ta no nag-decide ta asa ganahan ako nga model no unsa bay consideration nako nga mapay og cellphone para asa akong cellphone say purpose katulad ngayon so daghan sa tuwa nga nag-change og model sa cellphone tungod sa need because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So ibig sabihin, itong problema ng COVID-19 pandemic has affected our decision on adapting a new technology. So nag-adapt ang new technology based on our problem and the needs of our times, no. Ano siya? Ganun din ang mga farmers, no. They are willing to adapt any technologies, any innovations, any practices depending on their needs, depending on their situation, no, at hand. Okay, so let's proceed. So what are technologies and innovation? Actually, what we are trying to give to farmers, actually we are giving them technologies or innovation, no, be it hard technology kanang mga bagong cellphone yun na nga or be it mga software or soft technology for example mas ganahan ta sa Apple kumpara sa Android no these are software technology or for example sa Word no ganahan ta og the new version of Word gusto ta og Word or Office 2019 no ako sa una no nadugay kay ko mag-change ganahan jud ko og Office 2007 kay didto ko naanad so naglisod ko og change sa bag-o nga version ng Office Word na 2013, 2014 and eventually karon na nako yung Word nga 2020 I'm using no kay gamit nako nga PowerPoint is a version of 2020. This is the soft technology. Ang hard technology mga computer no we have different types of technology. We have hard technology and soft technology. Ang hard technology computer. Ang mga soft technology or software technology kani mga MS Word no mga PowerPoint yan mga technologies. Now, what are technologies and innovation? No? Accordingly, innovation is an idea. Okay? It is a practice or it is an object perceived as new by an individual, something new and novel in human knowledge and experience. This is the definition of innovation. Okay? It could be an idea. Okay? It could be a practice na actual na mga gipangbuhat or an object perceived as new by an individual or something new and novel in human knowledge and experiences are innovations. No? Yun na nga, sinabi ko, mga old model ng cellphone, bagong model ng cellphone, no? And idea, a frame of mind, a new frame of mind. Okay. Technology is a means of performing or capacity to perform particular activity. No? Technology is a means of performing. Ang technology kasi, kay yan, sinabi ko kanina, pwede siyang soft technology, pwede siyang hard technology. So dito, a means of performing, it could be a procedure, it could be a way, no? It could be methods, no? Mayroong old method and mayroong new method. Uh, or it could be a capacity to perform a particular activity, no? Nung una, uh, capacity to perform, sa una, dili ni mo ni kaya, karon kaya na because of the technology, no? Ano ba ang mga bagay na nung una hindi natin kaya, ngayon kaya na? Yan, I always go back to the cellphone and computers. Okay? Anong una, dili natin kaya mag-conduct og classes na online tungod kay wala tay internet, no? And internet is also a form of technology, a sub technology, no? So karon kaya na nato mag-discuss online kay kabalo na ta og Zoom, kabalo na ta Google Meeting. So na mga kabaguhan, no? Technology is a means of performing or a capacity to perform a particular activity, no? Usually, technology generated by research, no? Kini atong mga bag-o nga mga paagi karon, bagong cellphone, bag-o nga mga laptops, no? Or bag-o nga paagi, no? That is because of research and development. So there are groups of people who are continuously doing research to develop a new technology, no? Or a new method, okay? And a new practice, no? So sa agriculture, for example, sa tuwa sa Dorso, sa Davao Oriental State University, there is a research and extension division who's in charge with doing research and doing some development no, extension program. Okay, technology is generated by research, invented by farmers and others. No? Nung una kasi, ang old ways of looking the research is ang mag-research kasi gara mga kanang naalang sa university no mga professor lang no but the new paradigm or models of looking at research, farmers can do their own research. So that's why we are always empowering our farmers, no? And the colleges and universities work hand in hand and side by side with the farmers to help farmers doing research, no? Or giving them technologies if they have capacity to do research. So let us support the farmers in doing research for their own improvement, no? So, generated by research or through invention ang technology, no? And technology is considered as a symbol of modernization, no? Yan ang ating mentalidad, no? Uh, Pagdaghan na technology, develop na ta, no? High-tech na. So, that's considered symbols of modernization no? In our thinking. Then technology is also a manifestations of human activity in the world, no? So, human activity in the world. Say no, tanaw na to ang mga countries na kinsa bang mga high-tech country karon nga kusog kaya na sila sa technology no. Tumakita China no. Daghang sila technology even karon sa COVID-19 sila na ang pinakadaghan nga mga paraphernalias nga na-produce for a COVID-19 no. Manifestations of human activity in the world no, mga industrialized country, mga grabe na ka high-tech ang ilang activity. Japan no, kita behind ta. Anyway, no, manifestations of human activity in the world, technology, no. What are the technologies and innovations? Why are technologies and innovations developed? Bakit mag-develop ta? Okay, technologies and innovations are developed because first, in response to want. So, mayroon tayong mga gusto, no? Okay? So, bakit mayroon tayong gusto, mayroon tayong demand, mayroon tayong demand, so kaya ma-develop ang technology. Gusto nato mapadali ang mga trabaho. Gusto nato makatipid, gusto nato maka-increase sa income. That's why we develop technology, no? Sinabi nga, no? We develop technology because of necessity, no? Because of needs, no? Sabi dito, necessity is the mother of invention. So, we invent something, we develop technology because we want to address our needs, no? Ano yung mga pangangailangan sa community, sa society, no? So, technologies and innovations are developed because it is useful, no? Magamit siya. When idea is to put into practice, it is useful, no? Magamit siya sa atong mga pag-solve sa atong mga problema. And also, it initiates societal change, no? It could change society, change in the socio-economic status of the people. So because of technology, makatipid ta, no? Sa oras, sa panahon o sa kwarta, no? So it initiates societal change. So we want to alleviate poverty to some extent, no? We want to increase income of our farmers, no? That's why we developed technologies and innovation. And technologies and innovations, it symbolizes modernization, which could lead to transformation and development. Okay? Ingon din ta nga, daghan ng technology, daghan ng innovation, na modern na sila, no? Nga na siya. But yes, modernized. Sometimes there are bad effect of modernization. Labi na kung maguba na ang ato ang nature, maguba na ato ang kabukiran, no? Atong mga katubigan, kadagatan, madaot na. So, that's another story, no? Mayroon siyang, dili siya sustainable ang development kung ingon na. So, technologies should try to look at the environment. So, what is their effect on environment, no? Kailangan tanawon siya. Okay. So, what is adoption, no? Adoption, look at the spelling, no? Kasi merong adoption na gano'n, no? Merong mga adoption. So, look at the spelling, no? This is not the word we are trying to emphasize here. So we're looking at the adoption with O. So ang adoption nga letter A is kanang murag atong kanang mag-adapt tag bata, no? Ana siya. Adapt na siya, adapt ng letter A. Pero kung gisunod nimo ang technology, imo ang gi-apply letter O nga adoption, no? Okay? So adoption is the decision to make full use of technology as the best option possible. So adoption ibig sabihin na ako ning gi-practice, ako ning gisunod nga technology, ako ning gibuhat nga technology tungod kay siya ang the best option sa pagkakaron. Okay? So that is adoption. Sama na for example, kung nata itudlo sa farmer, so ang farmer ni sunod sa atong giingon nga paggamit sa technology tungod sa iyang pangunahan nakita niya kani ang the best sa ako sa pagkakaron. Pero pwede na niya buhian, di na siya modawat na sunod kung naanay bag-o na pod, no? Or di na siya ganahan, no? Kung pwede. So adoption is the decision to full use or to make full use of the technology as the best option as possible. Marag imuhang sundon. Okay? Another word we have diffusion. So what is diffusion? It's a process by which an innovation is communicated through a certain channels. Communicated through a certain channels over time among the members of the social system. Sino yung member ng social system? Mga farmers, mga communities, no? Mga groups. Yan. Okay? Diffusion is a process by which an innovation is communicated through a certain channels. Sino yung mga channels? Channels could be change agents, no? Extensionist. It could be a technician. It could be a barangay captain. No? It could be we have two types of channels. No, we have the interpersonal channels and we have the mass media channels. No? It could be sa radyo, sa TV, no, or through sa tao. No? Okay. A process by which an innovation is communicated through certain channels over time among the members of the social system. That is the diffusion. So nikatag ang technology, no, gi-adapt sa kadaghanan, no, pinaagi sa channels. It could be tao ang channel, it could be mass media, radyo, sulat, no, daghang media. Then how do farmers adapt innovation? Paano ba sila nag-adapt ng innovation, no? So based on the traditional adoption process according to Rogers in 1995, so farmers adapt innovation. There are some stages, no, in adapting process of the innovation. First, before anyone or anybody would adopt technology or a practice, it starts with an awareness stage, no? mm, aware tayo na mayroon ng technology, no? So awareness, the individual learns the existence of the new idea but lacks of information about it. Parang, uy, parang nakadungog ko ana, no, nakadungog ko ana. Pero we have no enough information, we have no enough details about the innovation, the practice, or the technology, you know. So murag nisagap lang sa to ang pangdungog ug sa atong kahibalo pero wala pa kayo ta kahibalo ug unsa gid ang pinakalawom niya nga description ana nga technology, no. Okay, sorry. Yan na. Then so aware after the awareness stage of adoption process, so there is an interest stage na for example atong nadunggan we are aware, no. So dahil aware ta ingon ta nga murag murag okay siya, no, murag maayo siya. So kaya nga naka-interesado ta. Then during the interest stage, the individual develops an interest in the innovation and seeks additional information about it. Naka-interesado man ta, uy, unsa day na, no? Murag maki-isyuso ta, unsa na, no? Murag, nag, ang atong interest ba, mag-develop ato sa atong nadunggan, no? Kay murag interesado man gud ta, no? So, develops interest in the innovations and seeks additional information. Muna nga, magkuan din ta, murag mag-research ta gamay, no? Magpangutana din ta, unsa din na, no? Kana siya. Dayon, kung ato na aware ta, nya naka-interest ta, nag-research ta gamay, ato da yung i-evaluate. Uy la, na day na. So imo din evaluate kung so unsa din na siya, para asa din na siya, no? Unsa day katabang ana, no? So during the evaluation stage, no, the farmers, the individual or the adapters, the individuals makes mental applications of the new idea. So mental application, yun na una-una, no? Kung ako ka na siyang sulayan, maayo ba ka o dili? So timbang-timbangon niya, no? Uy, murag maayo. Uy, murag dili, no? So naakay sa imong nahuna pa lang imo na siyang gi-evaluate, no? The individual makes some mental applications of the new idea to his present and anticipated future, no? Kung mao ni akong kahimtang karon, unya kung akong gamiton ni siya nga technology, no, kani nga practice o kani nga innovation, unsa kay mahitabo, no? Unsa kay epekto ani sa ako? Nga na ba? So nagpangutana ka, unsa mahitabo? And so try to evaluate the present and anticipated future situation and decide whether or not to try it. No, kung sige, murag maayo man ni siya nga kung ako ning buhaton, ako din ning sulayan. That's why you are to enter into the trial stage of adoption process, no. Sige, sulayan din ako ni sa ginagmay lang sa gamay lang sa akong sulayan, no. So in trial stage, the individual actually applies the new idea on a small scale. So small scale lang sa kay trial pa man, no, nya og palpak at least gamay rag lugi, no, gamay ra og gabulilyaso, no. So small scales in order to determine its utility in one's own situation. So sulayan lang sa nako, no. Sama na, no, kaso man tana nga maayo ba ka ni, no. Sige, i-try sa ako ni. So i-try sa nimo in small scale, not in full use. Dili bigid siya total adoption. So small scale lang aron makita nimong epekto sa imo mismong mata o sa imong mismong sarili, sa imong sitwasyon. Nga na siya, no? Kung tanaw mo sa trial stage, maayo siya, uy, maayo man. So you decide to make a full use of the technology of innovation in a full scale basis, no? That's why you are now on the adoption stage because sa trial stage maayo man, no? Adoption stage, the individual uses the new idea continuously in a full scale. So kay maayo man, no? Pero pag sa trial stage, pag taon ni mga dili man maayo, so you are to reject, no? You are to reject the innovation, the technology, the practices, no? The methodologies. Adi ko kay di man maayo sa akong pag-try. So yan na siya. So these are the stages of adoption process, no? So pero alam natin na ang una gyud before ta mo adapt. So first, you have to aware the idea na mayroong palang ganyan, no? Then maka-develop ang interest, evaluate natin, i-try, then decide tayo i-adapt ba or i-reject. Yun ang stages of adoption process for technologies, no? So there are some criticisms of this adoption process. Although this adoption process is the general view, usually ito yung mga stages in adoption process, no, sa ato ang kahimtang sa in general, but there are some criticisms of this adoption process, no. The process seems to always end in adoption, when rejection may also be like maybe a likely outcome. So yun na is adoption stage. But dito sa adoption stage, pwede ka after sa trial, di ka mo adapt, no? Kay, di magaganahan, okay? So the process seems to always end in adoption decision where rejection may also be out a likely outcome, no? The five stages may not always occur in specified order. So ibig sabihin na nan dili man usa naigib na apoy uban mga tao nga kanang rest taker kayo. Nakadungog lang wa nagitry gid sug adapt alugi lagi, no, na tagam. O, wala mag study, no. Naiuban nga mo try na ditso, no. Naiuban mo ditso adapt, no. The five stages may not always occur in a specified order. The trial stage may be skipped, and evaluation stage may also may occur throughout the whole process. Na dito siya adapt. Okay? So, pero kita tungod kay atong resources kulang, atong kwarta kulang, we are a rest. We are not a rest taker, no. Some persons are rest taker, no, mo sugal ang uban di mo sugal. So, kung rest taker siya, willing siya nga musugal siya niya. Pag di maayo, so lugi na siya, no? So, okay. So, yun na. Adoption may not always be the end process, but more information may be needed to confirm, reinforce, or switch a decision. So, pag human sa trial stage, okay, pero di siya dayon mo kuan, tanap niya sa uban, no? Mag-research pa siya gid o dunga nga research para sure gid iyang decision singa na. So, what is the innovation decision theory of adoption? Okay, there is the innovation decision theory of adoption of technology. No? This is the innovation decision theory of adoption. Okay, what is this? No? The innovation decision theory. Okay, one, the innovation decision process theory. Sabi dito, no? Diffusion is the process that occurs over time and can be seen as having five distinct stages, no? Yan ang sinabi doon, no? Innovation decision process theory, diffusion is a process that occurs over time, no? So, ibig sabihin, kung gwapo ang technology, o yan, nagdaghan na siya information, so magkadaghan ang mag-adapt over time, kung nakita nila nga maayong technology and can be seen as having five distinct stages, yung awareness, no? Yung tawag ito, interest, evaluation, trial, and adoption or disadoption or discontinuance. The focus is on the users or adapter on the adoption diffusion theory of adoption. So another is, what is the model of innovation decision theory, no? So the model of innovation decision theory is, we have knowledge, no? Knowledge, the individual is exposed to the innovation, para siyang parang marang knowledge, parang awareness din, no? Then the knowledge, the individual is exposed to the innovation existence and gain some understanding of how it functions, no? So na aware, na interest, o even na evaluate na niya, no? Okay? So persuasion. So during the persuasions, the individuals forms a favorable or unfavorable attitude towards the innovation, no? Okay, nadani siya or wa siya nadani, no? So forms a favorable, or it could be unfavorable attitude towards innovation. Ay, di man ko ganahan. So wa siya na-persuade. Uy, ganahan man ko, o na-persuade siya, no? Marag nadani siya, na-agni siya, no? So decision. So the individual engages in activities which lead to a choice to adapt or to reject, no? So primero na siya kay balo, aware siya, naka-interest siya, nag-try siya, nasabtan niya og unsay gamit dayon, pero pwede siya nga ma-persuade, pwede siya nadani, pwede wa siya nadani. Kung nawa siya nadani, mag-decide siya nga di ko reject ko. Pero kung nadani siya, na-persuade siya, ako ni siyang i-adapt, no? Iyang i-implement, no? Implementation, the individual uses the innovation. So this is related to the adoption stage, no? Implement. Then we have in the model of innovation decision theory, we have confirmation. No? The individual seeks reinforcement. Okay? Ibig sabihin nga dungag pagid siya og research unsa man gid ni, no? Mangutana siya sa uban, kumusta sa inyo, maayo ba, no? Mugadto siya more information. So in confirmation stage, the individual seeks a reinforcement for the innovation decision made, but may reverse previous decision if exposed to conflicting messages about innovation. Pagkita niya nga ay lahi may giingon nila, no? Mubalik siya kato na lang dati na ko ano nga practice or akong buhaton, no? Murag mo discontinuance or i-reject niya, mabalik siya sa dating gawi. This is the model of innovation decision theory composed of the knowledge about the technology, persuasion, no? Decide to reject or adapt, then yan, to adapt or reject, then confirm, i-confirm niya. We have in the innovation decision theory, so knowledge, persuasion, decision, implementation, and confirmation. Okay? So now, there's another theory. What is the individual innovativeness theory of technology adoption? No? So the individual innovativeness theory of technology adoption. So innovativeness is the degree to which an individual is relatively earlier in adopting new ideas than the other members of the system. No? Of course, kung ikaw ang innovators, ikaw ang inventor, ikaw jud ang unang adapter sa imong technology, no? Lisod pug kayo ikaw nagbuhat na ikaw mismo dili mo adapt, no? So, innovativeness is the degree to which an individual is relatively earlier in adapting new ideas than the other members of the system. Katong mga innovative kay mga tao, no? Katong mga curious kay mga tao, murag naa sila yung mga tawag na inclination towards science, kanang mga tawag na basta kana bitang mga eager kaayo mag-develop of technology, sila gid ang una nga mag-adapt sa technology, no? Okay. So innovativeness is the best single indicator of modernization. So daghan tag na innovate, daghan tag technology nga innovate. So this is an indicator of modernization, no? In fact, some countries atong tanawon sila nga modern tungod kay daghan sila technology, mas high-tech sila kumpara sa ato, no? So, mayroong modernization definition in here, okay, is defined as the process by which an individual change from traditional way of life to a more complex, technologically advanced, and rapidly changing lifestyle. No? So, modernization daw, defined as the process by which an individual change from traditional way of life, that is yung traditional way of life, to a more complex, technologically advanced, and rapidly changing style of life. So karon no, paspas kayo ang innovation, paspas kayo ang technology nya kung atong utok, kung ato ang interest, ang ato ang style is hinay kita dili ta mo go with the pace of changing environment, the changing world, so maiwan talaga tayo, no? Kaya nga I always encourage you and everyone to please keep the pace of the changing environment, of the changing world. Atong i-change, atong i-adapt atong sarili. Kaya ang mag-survive, kato lang yung nag-change o nag-change according to the pace of the world. No, kung paspas kayong world, nakita hinay, oh my God, no, maiwan talaga. So, katulad kayo, so please read ano yung mga bago, ano yung mga new technologies na bagong paagi para dili tayo mabiya sa kalibutan. Okay? So, change from the traditional way of life to a more complex. So, na yung mga tao nga lisod kayo i-change, no? Ingon na nga, nangraan na may namang style okay man ni no maayo man ang paagi di gid sila gusto mo change no tungod kay naa sila fatalistic mentality na di gid siya mo change no. Nga. So individual innovativeness theory of technology adoption states that no uh, individuals who are risk takers katong willing mosugal no individual who are risk takers or otherwise innovative will adopt an innovation earlier in the continuum of adoption or diffusion process of technology no. Kato daw kasagara nga mga venturous katong mga mosugal nga mga tao katong mga innovative nga mga tao sila ang una nga mo-adapt sa mga innovation in a continuum of adoption or diffusion theory no. Ibig sabihin there are there's some continuum in the adoption process sila ang pinakauna nga mga tao nga mo-adapt ana nga technology yung mga venturesomes yung mga innovative people yung mga geared towards new new or yung mga risk takers. Okay? So with that, we have different categories of adapter. Now, what are the adapter categories? No? So, nailaing-laing mga klase sa tao base sa ilahang nature or ways of accepting the technology. No? So, adapter categories are the classification of members of the social system on the basis of innovativeness. No? So, who are they and what are they? Okay. So, these are the adapters category no, based on innovativeness. No? Adapter categories as ideal types. So, first, we have the innovators. No? Types of adapters. So, innovators, they are venturesome. They are curious. No? They are keen. No? And they are risk takers. No? In the social system, so they constitute only 2.5%. No? Gamay lang kayo ang mga mag-innovate, mag-develop, no? Ang mag-research, gamay lang. No? So innovators, their venture sums only 2.5% of the social system. They are eager to try new ideas because they are venturous, no? They are venturesome. They are cosmopolites and desire the cosmopolites and desire the hazardous, medyo risk taker, no? The rush, the daring, and the risky but willing to accept occasional setback, no? O kayo, ikaw, are you desire the hazardous or mean to say risk taker? Are you willing to accept occasional setback, no? Pwede ba ka, okay ba ka mo accept og mga failure? So we should accept failure because that is the tawag nito, parang benchmark of our kanang sa pagbangon ng mga failure. Okay, so they are venturous, they are venturesome, they are risk taker, they are willing to accept occasional setbacks. No? Murag musugal gid sila, no? Musugal. Okay? So these are innovators, no? Ang mga first category. The second category, we have the early adopters of adapter, no? Early adopters, these are mga respectable people in the social system is constitute 13.5% sa ato ang adapters, no? They are more integrated in a local social system. Okay? Siguro mga kapitan, no? Mga sila mga group leaders, no? They are more integrated in a local social system, localites, high degree of opinion leaderships and respected by peers, no? Yun na nga, mga officials, kini sila mga early adopters, no? Makadungog gali sila sa makita sila bag-o nga mga technology, nakita nila na ay bag-o. Ganahan din sila, no? Labi na ka ng mga kwartahan, no? Pwede sa skip, try nato ni, no? Early adopters. Then, so we have some subcategories of early adopters, no? Sa early adopters, we have the early majority, no? They are the deliberate. 34% na sila sa early adopters, no? Ibig sabihin, kanang ilang gi-evaluate kita mang timbang po nila, no? They are deliberating the technology. They are deliberating the innovations, no, and practices are okay. They adapt new ideas just before average members of the social system. Okay, so ni-adapt sila pero ano sila kita nga nag-adapt ano ni so una lang sila. They adapt new ideas just before sorry, they adapt the new ideas just before the average member of the social system. So before pa ang kadaghanan ni adapt, sila nauna na sila adapt ana no. So rarely hold leadership positions. Okay, itong mga early majority no. Wala kasi nag-hold og rarely wala kasi nag-hold og leadership position. Deliberate before completely adapting the new idea. Ibig sabihin ilan nang gi-evaluate, ilang gi-deliberate pod no. Kung maayo ba dili no. Their motto sa mga usually sa mga early majority, be not the last to lay the old aside, nor the first by which the new is tried. So, dili pa sila ang pinakauna, dili po sila ang pinaka-last nga nag-adapt, no? Okay. So, we have late majority, no? Ang late majority, they are skeptical, no? So, mean to say is kanang murag igmat, no? Nagbantay, no? So, they adapt new ideas just after the average member of the social system. They are skeptical, they are cautious, no? Nagbantay. Adoption may be both an economic necessity, an answer to increasing social pressures, no? Uh, Kailangan sa economically, and an answer to a social pressures. Maayo murag gwapo na siya no kay murag ka ng social ta kung naataan na no murag kining murag angayan ta tanaw no gwapo siya murag kining gana lang no ana siya. And we also have the laggards no. So the laggards, these are traditional no mga gahi pasundon mga traditional mga old mga conventional mga karaag style no. Laggards are the last to adopt an innovation, last to adopt laggards from the lag no hinay naglag. Laggards are the last to adopt the innovation, possesses no opinion leadership, most localites, near isolates murag wala kay sa nabilong sa mga grupo-grupo no. They are near isolates. Point of reference is the past. Okay, no? Tanaw nila ang mga karaan lang style, pranky, suspicious. Murag di kay mo tuo, no? Gahi sila patuon. Attention is fixed or rear view mirror. Rear view mirror. So, ibig sabihin is kanang ganahan gid sila atong mga old nila, no? Murag di kay sila magpa-change. So, gahi gid sila, no? Sama na mo sa barangay natay introduce nga technology no di paminaw ang farmer mayon ang farmer nga nangaraan naman may mas maayo man ang amuwa kaysa inyo no kamo padulong pa kami pabalik na nga ba so ang ilang panguna-una grabe ka fatalistic mentality dili gid mo change ang uban ingon nga ay ulahir mo sa duyan dong no ingon na po dahil itong mga batunan nga una lagi mo sa duyan pero amo tabyog no so na yung mga mentalidad nga na ang mga laggards no dugay kay sila so kung ta sa mga barabarangay mag-introduce tag technology no atong tan-aw ni nga mga klase sa mga adapters kinsa ni sila are they venturesome are they laggards no kay we have different approach in dealing with them no kung ato silang mailhan so nga na. Okay, so those are the categories of adapters. We have the innovators, early adapters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. Excuse me. There's a question here. Is there a universal innovativeness? Actually, none. Because innovation is very wide and very random. So you can innovate anything as long as your mind needs it to suffice your curiosity. Then you can innovate. So there is no universal innovativeness. Lahi-lahi ang atong needs, no, depende sa atong needs ang technology. So what is the rate of adoption theory? No, there are some theory of adoption. Okay, the rate of adoption is, sorry, nawala na ako ang ballpen. So the rate of adoption, so ano yung mga factors affecting the adoption? No? The rate of adoption is the relative speed with which the innovation is adopted by members of the social system, measured as the human measured as the number of receivers who adopt new idea in a specific or specified time period. Again, rate of adoption is relative speed with which an innovation is adopted by members of a social system, measured as the number of receivers who adopt the technology or new idea in a specified time period. So, ang rate of adoption is looking about the speed of dissemination, no, of an innovation by members of a social system measured to number of receivers or numbers of client over time. So, ang adoption theory, ang rate of adoption is ang kapaspason sa pagkalat sa innovation nga gi-adapt sa ang ani kadaghanon sa mga farmers through time, no. Ito yung mga keywords dito sa innovation rate of adoption, no. Speed of spread, speed of dissemination ngadto sa mga receivers, no, sa mga receivers ngadto sa mga farmers sa ingon ani nga panahon. So kung kadiyot lang nga panahon daghan ang naka-receive, paspas, so paspas ang adoption. Pero kung dugay kayo ang panahon taas, gamay ra naka-receive, no, ang number na naka-receive gamay ra ang nag-adapt, hinay ang adoption. So adoption kita siya sa speed, ang adoption kita siya sa number of nag-adapt, pila ka buok, and time. Okay? Yan ang the rate of adoption theory. Okay. The rate of adoption theory states that, no, innovations diffuse over time that resembles an S-shaped curve. So kung imong tan-awon ang curve sa innovation, parang ganun ba? Parang ganun, S-shaped curve, no? So magkapaspas, magkahantod, wala na yung adapt, no? Yan ang sa S-shaped curve. Ito yan. Kung ato makita ang curve, I don't know kung mayroon bang curve later tingnan natin, okay? The rate of adoption theorizes that decision takes place over time with innovations going through a slow, primero slow, dito hinay pa, no? Slow ang adoption, gradual growth ng adoption, dito portion, and rapid growth, daghan kaayo ang ni-adapt, and then the gradual stabilization, mas stabilize din sa babaw, stable, okay? And finally, decline. Hangtod ang uban is mo decline. Anong mo decline man siguro na naibag-o pa, no? So ang uban is nakahibalo sila nga ay mahal man ay no murag-murag ingana. So primero is again, primero sa S-shape, primero is there's a slow slow rate of adoption, then gradual growth of production followed by a dramatic rapid growth of production, and then mas stabilize ibabaw, stable, and then finally decline in adoption process rate of, so sa kung sa graph pa siya. Okay, that is the rate of adoption, the theory of the rate of adoption. So ito yun, no. Primero, ang nag-adapt ng innovators gamay pa, nya dayon na maghinay ka daghan ang nag-adapt, dayon nagka rapid increase of adoption, dayon nag-stabilize diri sa ibabaw, then mag-decline ang adoption. Ito yun ang S-shape, no? S-shape. is shape or the curve, no? Is curve of adoption process. Based on the distribution of adopters according to the rate of adoption. Pinakadaghan sa mga adopters is naa sa early majority o sa late majority, no? Sila ang pinakadaghan. Ang pinakagamay itong mga innovators. Laggards, no? Pinakaulahi, adapt. Okay? Actually, this is time, no? Ito dito is true time. So, time ito. So, makadugay ang panahon, magkadaghan, hantod magagamay na po ang pag-adapt. That is true time. Kung imo na siyang i-graph, this is number of adapters. Then ang imong x-axis is time. Okay? So who are the early adapters, no? So who are the early adapters? Yung mga innovators, more years of education than late adapters, no? Itong mga educated people, sila ang mas dali mo adapt, no? Yung mga early adapter usually mga literate, no? Higher social status, no? Mga kapitan, mga officials, no? Kasagara ang mga dali mag-adapt katong mga naay larger farms, no? Okay? Then katong mga commercial orientation, no? Katong gusto sila commercial skill, favorable attitude towards credit katong mga tao nga credit katong mga mangutang bitaw kanang willing sila mag-loan. Katong mga tao nga willing mag-loan, gusto sila mo try, sila ang mga bilong sila sa mga early adapters. Katong mga naay favorable attitudes toward change, no? Gusto sila magbago ang ilang kinabuhi, gusto sila ma-improve. Kana kasagara ang mga early adapters, sila no kasagara. Actually ako, I belong to an early adapters and I'm a risk taker, no? Okay? So also, early adapters is favorable towards risk, no? Willing sila mo musugal, no? Okay lang mapildi basta nag-try, no? So ang least fatalistic kato bitaw nga ang hunahuna dili kaayo dili ra ma-change ang hunahuna ba tungod kay willing to change, no? Dili kayo sila karaan ang panlantaw. So they are least fatalistic. So higher aspirations katong mga naay mga pangandoy, no? Katong gusto nga mo improve higher aspirations in life. Cosmopolite, kana bitaw nga kuan sila kanang daghan sila og mga attention, no? Cosmopolite kana bitang tao nga willing siya masagol sa bisan asa mga venture sums, no? Cosmopolite. Change agent contact ibig sabihin kanang change agent katong mga technologies, no? Mao na mga technicians na mga extensionists ang change agent. So kita it could be we could be a change agent. Change agent contact katong masigi og istorya-istorya sa mga technician, sa mga researchers, sa mga inventors katong hilig makig-istorya ato, sila pud ang considered nga early adapters, no? And they are more exposed to a mass media katong sigigbasa, sigpamati sa TV, no? So sigbasa-basa og mga pamphlets, technology, okay, tanaw og mga YouTube, no? Kaya sila ang mga early adapters, no? Exposed to interpersonal communication, meaning to say, kanang makikistorya sila sa mga tao, no? Mga, yun na nga, sa mga extensionist, sa mga, kan sila, no? Kanang apil og mga meeting, no? Mga seminars, okay, exposed to interpersonal communication, yan na sila mga amigo nga mga scientist, amigo nga inventors, ya, ilang kasulti-sulti permente is kanang mga ingana pud nga tao, no? High degree of opinion leaders, no? Katong mga community leaders, mga chieftains, mga leader ng IP, leader ng mga organizations, mga captain, pork leader, kana sila, no? Mga pastors, no? Sila kasagara ang early adapters. So what are the forms of adoption, no? We have a term over adoption, no? Over adoption meaning is defined as the adoptions of an innovations by an individual when experts feels he should reject it. Ibig sabihin na ang farmer ni adapt ato nga technology pero nakita sa technician nga no, mali na dili na siya mao para sa imo, kani ang the best sa imo. So over adoption yon. So ni adapt ang farmer pero feeling ng technician dili to mao ang yang i-adapt. So over adoption ang tawag. Okay? We have a symbolic adoption is defined as the mental acceptance, no, of an innovations without necessarily putting it into practice, na parang moral lasing hunahuna lang permente wagig himo, no. So ganahan ko ana, so okay kay na pero wag nag-try, so that's symbolic adoption, so nahuna lang, no. So sequential adoption, what is this, is a process of a package of a technology, no. Actually ang kasagaran tawag ng package of technologies, POT. Pag may makita kayong POT, ang meaning dyan is package of technology, no. So pag sabing package of technology, for example sa banana production, there is a package of technology for banana production. Kaya naman, na ay technology sa pag-abuno, na ay technology sa pag-control sa piste, na ay technology sa sa pamana, no, sa pagpahinog, na ay technology sa unsaon pag-process sa banana into candy. So that is a package of technology. Okay? Sequential adoption is adoptions of a part of a package of technology initially and subsequently add components over time. So example, primero ang i-adapt nimo is sa banana production, ang mong i-adapt is kana na lang sang technology about tissue culture. So gamit ka og planting material nga tissue culture. Then pag dako na ang saging, gamitan nimo og technology sa fertilizer technology, no? unsay mga abono dapat sa saging. So magdungag-dungag ka, no. Subsequently magduwag na pug ka og unsay mga technology ani sa pag pest control. Yun, no. Another technology. Pag na-harvest na pod, kung na pug ka nga unsay package ani sa post-harvest technology, no? Unsaon ni pagpahinog, unsaon ni nga dugay mo hinog, unsaon ni dili ang malata. Yan na magdungag na pug kag subsequent technology. Unsaon pag process ani into candy, into banana powder, so on and so forth. So there is a subsequent addition of component technology over time, that is a sequential adoption. Okay? So another, we have the innovation dissonance. So innovation dissonance is the discrepancy between an individual's attitude towards innovation and one's decision to accept or reject it. No? So there's a dissonance. Okay, there are when we have different forms of adoption, we also have forms of rejection. No? So one of the rejection is discontinuance. No? Di na siya mapadayon o adapt sa technology. No? Ang ano ka, no? So discontinuance of rejection is a decision to cease or to stop use of innovation after previously adopting it. So imuhunong, no? Di na mapadayon. This is the discontinuance. And we have two types of discontinuance. We have replacement discontinuance. An innovation is rejected because a better idea supersedes it. Na di na ko paday na kanani bag-o, no. So una ganahan ko, pero karon nay mas maayo pa. So stop na ko, no. Ana siya. So then another form of discontinuance, we have disenchantment discontinuances. Ibig sabihin, an innovation is rejected as a result of dissatisfactions of its performance. Pag tanaw, oh my god, lapangit man ay makalugi man eh. So bikil man no, malangay man ang trabaho, di na ko ana. So disenchantment, dissatisfied, dili siya ganahan sa effect. So you have this disenchantment, discontinuance, yun, no. Okay. So what are the consequences of adoption? No, kung i-adapt nimo unsay mga epekto ana kung nag-adapt ka? So possibly there are desirable effect and also there are undesirable consequences. Kaya man padayon nimo, kaya mo discontinue ka tungod kinay undesirable, no. So ito mga possible consequence of adapting. So there are direct consequence, mayroon ding indirect consequence, no. For example, pag technology ka sa banana gihapon, pag apply mo sa technology, wala man na increase ang yield. pero naaman dahil siya indirect consequence sama sa for example ay kaman nang nakareduce ka sa labor of time o kanang ang time nga pag sa pagbuhat na minusan pero ang increase pareho lang. So indirect na posible pod ang indirect effect is posible pod nga wa lagi ka ka-income pero daghan man nakatrabaho kaya mili ka no. So ang direct effect katong mismo ang nagtanom naka increase ang yield, naka income no. So ang indirect effect pwede doon sa environment, pwede doon sa palibot no. So we also have the anticipated consequence kana bitang nakita na nimo ahead of time. Then apoy mga unanticipated consequence kana bitang nakalitan kang ala wala ko nagdahom nga mahitabo ni. So ingana ang mga consequence of adoptions of technology, practice or innovation. Now, how are technologies adapted and diffused? So, paano ito gi-adapt? Paano ito na disseminate? Na paano ito nagkalat? No? So, according to Rogers in 1995, there are three possible types of decision that can be made regarding an innovation. Okay? One, we have optional decision, meaning to say, so optional decision in which the adapting individual or a unit has almost complete responsibility for the decision. So, ibig sabihin, optional decision. So, ikaw ang magbuot, no? Individual ang pag-decide to adapt certain practices, technology, innovation, no? Or methodology. So, optional decision in which the adapting individuals or unit has almost complete responsibility over the decision. And another, number two, we have a collective decision. From the word collect, so grupo, no? So, collective decision in which a group makes a decision but the individual has some influence in the process, no? So, the group decides to adapt. So, parang collective decision. Okay? Then we also have a decision made by an authority decision, no? I mean to say, so in which the adapting individual, no, farmers, no, or client nato, ang client nato, so authority decision in which the adapting individual or unit has no influence on the innovation decision because the decision is made for the individual by others, no? For example, nag-ingon ang presidente sa Philippines nga kanigyod. Ug naingon ang balaod na kana gyud no. Dili na pwede nimo balion because that is decision based on authority. Okay? So meaning to say kung ingon ang mayor nga magbuhatag balaod nga dis na magtanom ani ang atong itanom kanisa. So what time mahimo? That's decision by authority, no? Okay? So, next is the attribute of technology. Ibig sabihin ng attribute or characteristic of technology. No? Unsa day mga kinaiya, characteristic ng mga of technology, no? Attributes. So, of course, before tayo mudawat sa technology, talawon sa nato sa iyahang kinaiya, basi makadaot nun sa ato, no? So, what are the prevailing views of technology, no? We have some prevailing views of technology. Uh, so we have the philosophy of technology, we have the philosophical premise, no? Ibig sabihin mga idea about the technology and who are the advocates, who are the pioneers of that idea, no? No? Usaya ang tao magubot tungod kay lain-lain atong panlantaw about sa technology, no? So first, the philosophy of technology based on utopian determinism. So utopian determinism viewed technology, gitanaw niya ang technology, no? Technology is an inevitable, important, no? Autonomous force, automatic, no? Autonomous force that will lead to prosperity and be the salvations of humanity. Mura og stricto ang iyang panlantaw, no? According to the utopian determinism, ang ilang mga philosophical view about technology, technology is an inevitable, importante gyud, no? Kailangan gyud siya inevitable autonomous force that will lead to prosperity and be the salvations of humanity. Yan ang sinabi ni Karl Marx, ang mga pioneering dito, ang mga advocates, sila si Marshall McLuhan, according to Alvin Toepler and technology zealots. Yan ang yung mga yan ang ito ang panlantaw nila no, yung kining mga tawhanan ni no. So, nana. But usahay no dili nga to panlantaw, usahay ang technology makadaot pud ang technology no, labi na kung ah, muguba na siya og nature, muguba na siya og natural resources. But ilaha lahi. Ang ilang technology yun is for the salvation of humanity, no? But other people's no views it differently according to Jacques and George Orwell, according to Ann Bomber and the Luddite movement. So ang gitan-aw nila ang technology in terms of dystopian determinism, no? What is dystopian determinism? Okay, na ipagkapare-pareho na sa mga utopian determinism, no? But according to the dystopian determinism, based on the different advocates, technology is an inevitable, yes, medyo pagkapareho ganina, autonomous force that is normally corrupt and will lead to destruction of humanity, no? So technology na is inevitable, autonomous force, pero minti kita mag-develop kita technology because technology development because of needs and necessity, no? It is an automatic force, no? Murag automatic lang siya mo develop nga makabuhat kita technology, no? It's free, no? Autonomous force that is normally corrupt and will lead to destructions of humanity, no? So na mga tao nga sobra ra kay sila ka pag-amping sa atong resources kay di na gusto magmina, di na gusto og gubon ang kan kay naay panlantaw ang technology makadaot sa environment, no? Destructions of humanity, pwede siya mag-distract sa kinabuhi sa tao. Ay panlantaw yan na. Okay? According to of these different advocates, no? And also, there is a philosophy, no? There is views or reasoning about technology in terms of instrumentalism, no? According to instrumentalism, no, as advocated by Daniel Chandler and Paul Levinson, as well as Donald McKinsey, technology is under human control, okay, and its use can lead to beneficial or can lead to disastrous consequences. No? So mas ganahan ko aning philosophy of technology based on the instrumentalism, no, and rather than on this very tawag ni absolute uh, thinking of technology. This one medyo mayroon tayong control, no? Technology is under human control and its use can lead to beneficial and disastrous consequence depending on the type of technologies and depending on its effect to either to the people or to the environment. Mm. So that's why nasa sa itong example karon ang present issue na to karon is kanang ko ano kanang pagtambak sa dolomite sand sa Manila Bay. Problema ta ano ah, kay lain-lain mo ang panlantaw sa mga tao sa technology kaya hati ta diha bahin ta diha na yung mga tao naglantaw ana nga disastrous yan na yung tao nagtanawan na nga okay yan so because it is normal that we view technology or practices based on different philosophy of technology so di lang pud ta masakit nga tirahod ang atong opinion about the technology because normal nga mayroon talagang iba-ibang opinions in looking at the practices and technology, no? For example, kung ang mga advocates de anak karon nga mga technology anak karon sa dolomite sand kanang pagtambak de sa Manila Bay kung utopian determinism ilang huna-huna no yan ang frame of mind nila nya ang kato di ay ang uban po nagtanawan ang in terms of dystopian determinism ang uban nagtanaw sa instrumentalism normal na hati no so ako is I try to look at that uh, tawagin na ng in kanang pagtambak ng dolomite sand in terms of viewing technology in the eye of instrumentalism because I myself is a very instrumentalism no so I will give you a view on that no later on. So there are some subcategories in technological views. Now we have the Other lang atong mga determinism, no? Uh, there is a developer-based determinism theory, no? So, according to this determinist theory, to increase diffusion by maximizing the efficiency, effectiveness, and elegance of innovation, no? That's in the eye of developer. Okay, the developer or architect of superior technology is seen as the primary force for change, no? So, medyo na asli pagkapareho gamay atong uh, utopian, no? Nga determinism. And based on developer-based determinist theory, assumes that superior technology replaces inferior products and system. Okay? Medyo kuan siya, medyo rigid ito gamay, no? Meaning to say is medyo gahi, no? Dili mo change ang iyang panglantaw. Okay? So we also have the adapter-based instrumentalist theory, no? Ganahan ko ani, no? Ganahan ko ani. So adapter-based instrumentalist theory focuses on the human and interpersonal aspects of inhibition diffusion. So look at the human in general and look at individual aspects, no? And also views the end user gitanaw o gibugaton ang mga end users ng mga clients, no? Views the end user, be it individual who will ultimately implement the innovation in a practical setting, no? Views the end user as the primary force for change. Okay? Then also the adapter-based instrumental theory tries to understand the social context in which the innovations will be used. No? Ganahan ko ani nga panlantaw. Okay? And also the adapter-based instrumentalist theory rejects the assumptions that superior products and practices will automatically be attractive and potential. So medyo baliktad ang panlantaw ni adapter base kumpara sa developer base. O kaya nga, going back again dito sa project sa gobyerno karon kanang pagtambak og Dolomite Sand sa Manila Bay, if ang kanang nagtambak diha, they are looking at it in the developer base determinist, pero ang nagkritik naman they are the adapter based instrumentalist theory. Normal talaga na mayroong mga diskusyon, no? May mga iba-ibang opinion dyan. So that is very healthy. Minang kasi nagpaila that the environments, ang mga Pinoy nag-isip at they are intelligent. Why? Because they are varied opinion based on the technological views, no? Ako I am more on this, no? More on this. Pero kana silang mga nag-develop, they are more on this, no? So normal lang talaga. Walang problema 'yon. So dito suspect other idea, huwag lang tayong masuko tungod kay yan ang life. We have different technological views. No? Again, so what are the prevailing views of technology? We have the utopian, we have the dystopian, we have the interministerialism. Okay? And we also have the developer-based determinist and we have the adapter-based instrumentalist theory. Okay? So now, what is the theory of perceived attributes of technology? Ano yung mga attributes? Ano bang characteristic ng technology, no? So perceptions is the interpretation of reality, no? So we have different perceptions. When we see things, we have different perceptions of that because we have different learnings, we have different experiences. So kaya nga, respect opinion. Huwag tayong magalit kung yung mga opinion is iba sa atin. Kasi perception is interpretations of reality and we have different perception. Okay? So the theory of perceived attributes of technology states that the potential adapters judge an innovation based on their perceptions regards to 5 attributes of innovations. No? So ang theory of perceived attributes of technology magdepende na sa perception sa adapters with regards to the attributes of technology. Unsa ba nga technology angayan ba siya o dili, no? So depende sa iyang panlantaw, no? And depende pud sa attributes of technology. Okay? So what are now the attributes of technology, no? So the adapters look at the technology in terms of relative advantage, no? Kumusta ba ang technology na may relative advantage sa mag-adapt, no, is the degree to which an innovation is perceived as being better. So better than the idea it supersedes, no. So mas maayo ba ni siya nga technology kumpara sa akong gigamit sa una? So kung nasa relative advantage compared to your previous practice, then adapt it, no. Pero kung dili, pag bana nimo, lain man tang experience, lain man tong gigamit-gamit tong sa una. So basig mas kaning nga technology karon nga ingon tang bag-o, mas okay pa ditong gigamit sa isa. So ibig sabihin, so iba-iba karon ang ato ang panlantaw about the technology, no. So there are some sub-dimensions of relative advantage. We include degree of economic profitability, makaginansya ba? Okay? Low initial cost, tipid ba ni? Okay? Low perceived risk, dili ba kay ta malugi ani? Kung malugi ta kay kaya ra ba, no? Decrease in discomfort and saving in time and effort of immediacy of reward. So dali ra ba ta maka-income ani? So dali ra ba ta mag-return ang ato ang income? Kung dugay, so maybe dili ko ganahan, no? So yun ang we take at we see relative advantage in terms of economic, cost, rest, discomfort, and time and effort, no, saving time and effort, as well as the immediacy of reward. Okay. So also technology or innovations will be perceived as in terms of compatibility, no. Kan man siya kanang compatible ba ni sa ako, no, basin og dili ni angay sa ako, ano. So compatibility is the degree to which an innovation is perceived as consistent, no, with the existing values. Basin ang compatibility, no, sukwahi sa ilang mga pamatasan, tradisyon o sa ilang kultura. So tanawon na to na, no, dito makatag og technology nga pitan mga Muslim, mga Islam. Yang technology atong ihatag dito saon pag process ang karning baboy. So that is not compatible, no. So it is compatible with their past experience. So dili ba sila sa dali ra ba sila ni katungod kinahanglan sila experience ana, di ba dugay, and needs of the receivers. Basig dili din na nila need, no. Naghatag kag technology pero dili sila ganahan kay dili na mao ang solusyon sa ilang mga problema. So it should be compatible with the needs, the wants, the aspirations of the clients or the farmers. Compatible, no. O basig mahal ra, no. Basig di nila kaya in terms sa ilang income, dili compatible sa ilang economic situation. So also adapters look at the technology in terms of complexity. Sayon ba, di ba lisod, no? Kung lisod man ni siya, naabay makatabang na to para mapasayon ni, no? So complexity is the degree to which an innovation is perceived as relatively difficult to understand and use, no? Kung lisod kay sa sabton, lisod kay gamiton, so dili giganahan ng adapters ana. Kay gusto mo sa adapters nga simple lang, or kung complex man galing na ay magpasabot, na ay ma-guide sa ila. So kung complex kaayo nya wala mag-guide, di sila mo adapt, no, maka-apekto sa pag-adapt ang complexity, degree of complexity. And also look, the adapters try to look at the triability of the technology or innovation. So katulad nung dati in the stages adoption, we have awareness, we have awareness, interest, evaluation, trial, adoption. So mayroong trial, no. So a degree to which innovations may be experimented on a limited basis in a small scale, no. So sulayan sa nimo in a small scale. Kung pagkita nimo sa small scale, okay. So you are now ready to adapt in a full scale, no, in a large scale. So kung matry siya sa gamay, so most likely dali siya ma-adapt, dali siya ma-disseminate, ma-adapt siya sa kadaghanan tungod kay pwede man matry sa ginagmay, no. Pero kung dili matry, di sila pwede ma-full scale kay basin niya og malugi kay some peoples are not risk taker na amang tao dili mo sugal. So yun, tanawon ang technology, kung triable ba siya, triability, no, a degree of triability. And also observability, no. So makita ba, no, ang epekto or klaro ba, no, is the degree to which the results of an innovation are visible to others, no, or communicability, no. Kung nakita ba kung na-try niya dito sa example kung variety, so na-try ba sa result demonstration dito sa result demonstration farm, makita nimo, no, result demonstration, nakita nimo ang result dito sa demo farm. Okay? Example, result demonstration, na ay variety gitanom, nakita nimo na mga result demonstration nga mga extension program, ay okay di ay, nakita nimo sa mata gid mismo nga maayo. Naapoy nagpatunay mga testimonies na based on communicability, no, na experience sa uban, dali ra nimo na i-adapt. If it can be seen, if it can be observed, no? So, ang technology dali ra ma-adapt. Okay? So, how do attributes relate to the rate of technology adoption? Ito yung mga attributes ng technology, no? How do the attributes relate to the rate of technology adoption? For example, kung naa siya relative advantage kumpara sa old practice nimo, then positive ang imong adoption dyan, no? Adapt ka, no? Kung ang compatibility, kung compatible siya sa kahimtang sa mga adapters, sa ilang income, sa ilang knowledge, sa ilang kahimtang, no? Kung compatible, di na sila mag-adjust kaayo, okay yun, no? Dali ang adoption nun. Pero kung technologically is complex kaayo, lisod, no? Kailangan ka magbasa, kailangan ka effort yun para masabtan, ang adoption da is hinay, no? Baba ang adoption, no? Decrease rate of adoption kung complex kaayo, no? Pero kung matry siya in a small scale, ang rate of adoption da is pas-pas, no? Kung ma-observe po nimo in terms of result demonstration and in terms of mga testimonies or communicability, so that is, rate of adoption is increase ang rate of adoptions ng technology. So look at this. These are the attributes of technologies and how these attributes of technologies affect the rate of adoptions or dissemination of technology in terms of speed of adoption, in terms of number of adapters, and in terms of time, no, of adoption. So next we have the technology acceptance model. But I think we have to end muna in this portion because medyo taas na, no? I will try to discuss that on the succeeding discussion. Take note for that. But before we end up, so let us go back muna, no? Sa everything that we have discussed. Yun. So prevailing views, no? Yeah. Okay. Okay, medyo taas-taas na, no? Okay. So yun. Okay, so let us continue our discussion on the next chapter of this of the next discussion of this session. Okay.